Commander Jake Morrison stared at the screen in his office. The numbers made no sense. He read them again, hoping he was wrong. The alien ship was bigger than any city on Earth. It was heading straight for them. "Sir, you need to see this, Lieutenant." Amy Carter stood in the doorway. Her face was pale. She had been working all night on the data from the deep space sensors. Jake looked up from his desk. "Tell me it's not as bad as it looks." Amy walked into the room and placed a tablet on his desk. "It's worse. The ship is 3 times larger than we first thought. Our computers keep having to adjust the size estimate." The Terran Defense Station had been Jake's home for 5 years. He knew every corner of the massive structure that orbited Earth. He had seen plenty of alien ships before. Small raiders, medium cruisers, even a few large battleships. Nothing like this. "How long until it reaches us?" Jake asked. 6 days, maybe 7 if it slows down, Amy replied. "Sir, there's something else. It sent us a message." Jake felt his stomach drop. Messages from alien ships were never good news. "Play it." Amy touched the tablet. A harsh, grinding voice filled the room. The words were in English, but the accent was wrong, like someone learning to speak for the first time. "Submit or perish. Your species has 7 days." The message repeated 3 times, then stopped. Jake and Amy sat in silence for a long moment. "Have you told anyone else?" Jake asked. "Only Captain Phillips. He's preparing a scout mission right now." Jake nodded. Ryan Phillips was the best pilot they had. If anyone could get close to that thing and come back alive, it was him. "Get me a direct line to Earth Command. And Amy, keep this quiet for now. We don't need panic spreading through the station." 2 hours later, Captain Ryan Phillips sat in the cockpit of his stealth ship. His pilot, Lisa Brooks, ran through the final checks. The ship was small and fast, designed to slip past enemy sensors without being seen. "You sure about this, Captain?" Lisa asked. "That thing out there could swallow our entire fleet." Ryan checked his instruments one more time. "We need to know what we're dealing with. Command can't make decisions without real information." Lisa started the engines. The stealth ship moved away from the defense station, heading toward the outer edge of the solar system. They would have one chance to get close and scan the alien vessel. If they were spotted, they would never make it home. As they flew deeper into space, the alien ship grew larger on their screens. Ryan had seen the estimated size in the reports, but seeing it with his own eyes was different. The ship looked like a dark mountain floating in space. Its surface was covered with weapons and strange growths that pulsed with dim light. "My God," Lisa whispered. "How many people are on that thing?" "Probably millions," Ryan replied. "Lisa, take us closer. I want detailed scans of their weapon systems." The stealth ship crept forward. Their sensors worked quietly, gathering information about the massive vessel. The data they collected made Ryan's blood run cold. The alien ship had enough firepower to destroy every human colony in the galaxy back on Earth. General Patricia Stone sat at the head of a long table. Around her were the leaders of every human world and colony. The emergency meeting of the United Earth Defense Council had been called as soon as Ryan's data arrived. "Ladies and gentlemen," General Stone began, "we face the greatest threat in human history. This alien ship has the power to end our civilization." The room erupted in worried voices. Some demanded immediate action. Others suggested surrender. A few talked about evacuation plans. Quiet. General Stone slammed her hand on the table. "We have 6 days to decide our response. Admiral Bennett, what are our military options?" "Admiral..." Charles Bennett stood up slowly. He was an old man who had fought in many battles. His voice was heavy with the weight of bad news. "General, our entire combined fleet would not scratch the surface of that ship. We have 300 vessels. They have one ship that could destroy all of them in minutes." "What about our newer weapons?" asked Colonel Frank Miller. The plasma cannons, the quantum torpedoes. Admiral Bennett shook his head. Our best weapons would be like throwing rocks at a mountain. The alien ship's shields are too strong. General Stone looked around the table. Every face showed the same expression of hopelessness. Dr. Walsh, you've studied alien technology longer than anyone. Is there something we're missing? Dr. Kevin. Walsh had been quiet during the meeting. He was a thin man with wild hair who spent most of his time in underground laboratories. There might be something, he said slowly, but it would be very dangerous. More dangerous than letting that ship destroy us? General Stone asked. Dr. Walsh paused before answering. Possibly. I've been working on a classified project. Something the aliens have never seen before. But if we use it, there's no going back. The room fell silent. Outside the meeting room, millions of people went about their daily lives, not knowing that their future was being decided in this moment. Captain Phillips and Lisa Brooks had finished their mission. Their ship raced back toward Earth with detailed scans of the alien vessel. The information they carried would change everything. The alien ship was not just a weapon of war. It was something much more frightening. As they flew home, Ryan noticed something on his scanner. Lisa, are you seeing this? Lisa checked her instruments. The alien ship is changing course. It's moving faster now. Ryan felt a chill run down his spine. They know we were there. They're coming straight for Earth. The war that would decide the fate of humanity was about to begin. And Earth's defenders had no idea that their enemy was unlike anything they had ever faced before. The alien ship was not just carrying soldiers. It was carrying something that would force humanity to become something they had never been before. In the depths of space, the massive alien vessel continued its journey toward Earth. Its crew prepared for what they thought would be an easy victory. They had conquered dozens of worlds before. They expected humans to surrender or die like all the others. They had no idea that this time would be different. This time, they had picked a fight with a species that refused to give up. And humanity was about to show them exactly what that meant. Dr. Kevin Walsh walked down the long corridor deep beneath the mountains of Colorado. His footsteps echoed in the empty hallway. The elevator had taken him 300 feet underground, to a place that did not exist on any official map. Behind him, Maria Santos struggled to keep up. She was an engineer who had been working with Dr. Walsh for 2 years. She knew about Project Pandora, but she had never seen the main laboratory before. Dr. Walsh, are you sure about this? Maria asked. Once we show them what we've built, there's no hiding it anymore. Kevin stopped walking and turned to face her. His eyes were tired from too many sleepless nights. Maria, did you see the reports from Captain Phillips? That alien ship will be here in 4 days? We don't have time to think about the consequences. They reached a heavy metal door. Kevin placed his hand on a scanner. The door slid open with a soft hiss. Inside was the largest laboratory Maria had ever seen. Scientists in white coats worked at dozens of stations. At the center of the room was a glass container, the size of a small building. Welcome to Project Pandora, Kevin said. What you're about to see has taken us 10 years to develop. Maria stared at the container. Inside, something moved in the green liquid. It looked like smoke, but it pulsed with its own light. What is it? A virus, Kevin replied. But not like any virus that has ever existed. We built it from scratch, using alien DNA we captured in previous battles. Maria felt sick to her stomach. Kevin, we agreed never to work on biological weapons. The treaties forbid it. Kevin walked toward the container. The treaties were written when we thought we were the only intelligent life in the galaxy. Everything changed when we met our first aliens. This virus doesn't target humans. It only affects alien biology. At that moment, alarms began blaring throughout the facility. Red lights flashed on the walls. A voice came over the intercom system. Dr. Walsh to the communication center immediately. Priority Alpha message from Earth Command. Kevin and Maria ran through the corridors to the communication room. On the main screen was General Stone's face. She looked exhausted and worried. Dr. Walsh, the Defense Council has made a decision. We're authorizing Project Pandora. How soon can your weapon be ready? Kevin felt his mouth go dry. He had hoped this day would never come. General, the virus is ready, but we need a way to get it inside the alien ship. Our missiles will never penetrate their shields. That's been taken care of, General Stone replied. Major Alex Turner and his team will deliver it personally. Across the country, Major Alex Turner stood in front of his elite soldiers. The Void Hunters were the best special forces unit humanity had ever created. They had fought in the darkest corners of space and always completed their missions. Listen up, Alex said to his team. In 3 days, we're going to board an alien ship the size of a city. Our job is to plant a weapon deep inside their vessel and get out alive. Sergeant Nicole Grant raised her hand. Sir, how exactly are we supposed to get inside? Our intelligence says their shields are impenetrable. Alex smiled grimly. We're going to use the new phase shift technology. For 30 minutes, we'll be able to pass through solid matter like ghosts. It's experimental, dangerous, and has never been tested in combat. The team exchanged worried looks. They had all volunteered for dangerous missions before, but this sounded like suicide. Sir, said Corporal Danny Rogers, the team's communication specialist, what happens if the phase shift fails while we're inside the ship? Then we become part of their hull, Alex replied honestly. Questions. The room fell silent. These soldiers had faced death many times, but they had never been asked to risk disappearing into solid metal. Sir, what kind of weapon are we delivering? Asked Corporal Sue Wallace, the team medic. Alex hesitated before answering. That's classified. All you need to know is that if we succeed, the alien threat ends. If we fail, humanity falls. Back at Earth Command, Admiral Charles Bennett sat alone in his office. He stared at the authorization papers for Project Pandora. His signature at the bottom made him responsible for what was about to happen. A knock on his door interrupted his thoughts. Come in. Colonel Frank Miller entered the room. He carried a cup of coffee and looked like he hadn't slept in days. Admiral, the phase shift equipment is ready. Major Turner's team will launch in 18 hours. Admiral Bennett rubbed his tired eyes. Frank, do you think we're doing the right thing? Frank sat down across from the Admiral. Sir, that alien ship will be here in 3 days. Our entire fleet combined couldn't scratch their paint. What choice do we have? I keep thinking about the other species they've conquered, Admiral Bennett said. What if some of them tried to surrender? What if they had families, children? With respect, sir, Frank replied, we can worry about the moral implications after we survive. Right now, we need to focus on saving our species. Admiral Bennett nodded slowly. Frank was right, but it didn't make the decision feel any better. In the Deep Space Monitoring Station, Lieutenant Amy Carter watched the alien ship grow larger on her screens. The massive vessel had not slowed down. If anything, it seemed to be moving faster. She had been tracking the ship for 4 days now. Every scan revealed new details that made her more afraid. The ship was not just big, it was alive. Parts of its hull pulsed like a heartbeat. Strange growths covered its surface like a disease. Amy's computer beeped with an incoming message. It was from Dr. Walsh's laboratory. Lieutenant Carter, we need all your scan data on the alien vessel. Pay special attention to any biological readings. Amy began uploading the files. As she worked, she noticed something strange in the data. The alien ship's biological readings were unlike anything she had ever seen. It was as if millions of individual life forms were connected into one giant organism. She picked up her communicator. Dr. Walsh, I'm sending you something unusual. The alien ship appears to be some kind of living creature. Dr. Walsh's voice crackled through the speaker. Confirmed, Lieutenant. That's exactly what we hoped to find. This virus was designed specifically for that type of biology. Amy felt a chill run down her spine. Dr. Walsh, what exactly does your virus do? There was a long pause before he answered. It teaches them what it means to be human. The next morning, Major Turner and his team stood in the launch bay. Their ship was small and fast, designed to get them close to the alien vessel without being detected. Each soldier wore experimental armor that would allow them to phase through solid matter. Dr. Walsh approached with a silver briefcase. Inside was a device no bigger than a baseball. It looked harmless, like a child's toy. This is it, Dr. Walsh said quietly. Once you activate this device, there's no stopping what happens next. Major Turner took the case. Doctor, I need to know. Will this weapon kill them? Dr. Walsh looked uncomfortable. Major, death might be kinder than what this will do to them. The virus will give them something they've never had before, individual consciousness. For a hive mind species, that's the worst torture imaginable. The soldiers boarded their ship in silence. Each of them understood that they were about to change the course of galactic history. They were not just trying to save humanity. They were about to introduce an alien species to humanity's greatest gift and curse. As their ship launched toward the massive alien vessel, none of them could imagine the consequences of their mission. They thought they were delivering a weapon that would save their species. They had no idea they were about to unleash something that would transform the entire galaxy. Major Alex Turner felt his stomach twist as their small ship approached the alien vessel. Through the window, the massive structure blocked out the stars. It was like flying toward a metal planet covered in spikes and strange growths. Phase generators online, reported Sergeant Nicole Grant from the pilot's seat. We have exactly 30 minutes before the effect wears off. Alex looked at his team. 6 of the best soldiers humanity had ever produced, and they all looked terrified. He didn't blame them. What they were about to do had never been attempted before. Remember the plan, Alex said. We phase through their hull, find the ship's core, plant the device, and get out. No heroics, no side missions. We stick together. Corporal Danny Rogers adjusted his communication equipment. Sir, I'm picking up strange signals from inside the ship. It's like millions of voices all talking at once, but in perfect harmony. That's their hive mind, Alex replied. They think as one. ORGANISM. Dr. Walsh said the virus will change that. The ship's computer beeped. They were close enough to begin the infiltration. Alex felt the phase shift field activate around his body. It was a strange sensation, like being underwater, but still able to breathe. Here we go, Nicole said. She flew the ship directly at the alien hull. Alex closed his eyes as they passed through the solid metal. When he opened them again, they were inside a corridor, unlike anything he had ever seen. The walls were organic, pulsing with a soft purple light. Strange tubes filled with glowing liquid ran along the ceiling. This place is alive, whispered Corporal Sue Wallace, the team medic. She scanned the walls with her instruments. The entire ship is one giant organism. Alex motioned for his team to follow him deeper into the ship. Their phase shift field allowed them to pass through doors and obstacles, but it wouldn't last long. They needed to find the ship's core quickly. As they moved through the corridors, they began to see the ship's crew. The aliens were tall and thin, with gray skin that seemed to shimmer in the dim light. They moved in perfect coordination, like dancers performing a rehearsed routine. Look at their eyes, Sue whispered. They're all exactly the same. No individual expression at all. Alex studied the aliens as they passed. She was right. Every alien had the same blank, peaceful expression. They moved without speaking, as if they all knew exactly what the others were thinking. Creepy, said Danny. It's like they're all robots controlled by the same computer. The team continued deeper into the ship. The corridors became stranger as they went. Some walls were covered in what looked like nerve endings. Others had large pods that pulsed with soft light. Through the transparent surfaces, they could see more aliens floating in a strange liquid. "Are those sleeping?" asked Corporal Tim Jackson, one of the team's explosives experts. "I don't think they sleep," Alex replied. Dr. Walsh said they share consciousness. They probably take turns using different bodies. After 20 minutes of searching, they found what they were looking for. The ship's core was a massive chamber filled with a bright, swirling energy. At the center was a structure that looked like a giant brain made of crystal and metal. "That's it," Alex said. "The central nervous system of the ship," Dr. Walsh said. "To place the device as close to the center as possible." Nicole checked their time. "We have 8 minutes left on the phase. After that, we'll be solid again." Alex pulled out the silver briefcase Dr. Walsh had given him. Inside was the small device that would change everything. It looked so harmless, but he knew it contained the power to destroy an entire civilization. As he approached the central structure, Alex began to understand how the alien hive mind worked. The crystal brain was connected to thousands of cables that ran throughout the ship. Every alien on board was linked to this central consciousness. "Sir, I'm detecting massive network activity," Danny reported. "The entire ship is processing information at an incredible rate. They're analyzing our entire solar system." Alex placed the device next to the crystal brain and activated it. A small green light began blinking. "It's done. Let's get out of here." But as they turned to leave, something unexpected happened. The device began to change. Instead of the steady green light, it started pulsing faster and brighter. The crystal brain responded by glowing more intensely. "That's not supposed to happen," Sue said, checking her readings. "The virus is spreading faster than Dr. Walsh predicted." Suddenly, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. The aliens they had seen moving in perfect harmony stopped what they were doing. For the first time, Alex saw confusion in their eyes. "The phase shift is wearing off," Nicole warned. "We need to go now." Alex led his team toward the nearest exit, but they could feel their bodies becoming solid again. The strange sensation of being able to pass through walls was fading. Soon they would be trapped inside the alien ship. They reached a corridor that led to the outer hall, but their phase shift field finally failed. They were now solid beings inside a hostile vessel filled with millions of aliens. "Great," said Tim. "Now what do we do?" Before Alex could answer, they heard something that chilled them to the bone. Screaming, not human screaming, but the sound of alien voices, crying out in terror and confusion. Danny quickly tuned his equipment to the alien communication frequencies. What he heard made his blood run cold. "Sir, their hive mind is breaking apart. I'm hearing thousands of individual voices where there used to be one." Through the ship's corridors, they could hear chaos spreading. Aliens were running in different directions, no longer moving in perfect coordination. Some were calling out in their strange language, while others seemed to be fighting among themselves. "The virus is working," Alex said, "but faster than anyone expected." Sue scanned the area around them. "Sir, the ship's life support systems are failing. The aliens don't know how to operate them as individuals." Alex realized they were witnessing something unprecedented. The virus wasn't just affecting the aliens' minds. It was destroying their ability to function as a collective organism. Each alien was suddenly alone in their own head for the first time in their lives. "We need to find an escape pod," Alex said. "This ship is going to tear itself apart." As they moved through the corridors, they saw the true horror of what they had unleashed. Aliens sat on the floor, holding their heads and rocking back and forth. Others wandered aimlessly, as if they had forgotten how to walk. Some fought each other, with a violence that seemed completely random. "They're going insane," Sue whispered. "They've never been individuals before. They don't know how to handle being alone in their own minds." Danny's equipment crackled with alien voices. He could hear fragments of their language, but it was no longer the harmonious choir they had detected before. Now it was chaos. Questions, fear, anger, and confusion all mixed together. "Sir, I'm picking up a distress signal," Danny reported. "It's being broadcast to other alien ships throughout the galaxy." Alex felt his stomach drop. What kind of distress signal? They're trying to warn their fleet, but the message keeps changing. Different aliens are adding their own words to it. They can't agree on what to say. The team reached an area that looked like it might contain escape pods, but as they approached, they realized the aliens had no individual escape systems. Everything on the ship was designed for collective use. Of course, Alex said. They never planned for individuals to need separate transportation. Behind them, the sound of chaos grew louder. The alien ship was falling apart as its crew lost the ability to work together. Systems were failing throughout the vessel as different aliens tried to control them in different ways. "Sir, we have a bigger problem," Nicole said, checking her instruments. "The ship is accelerating toward Earth. Without unified control, they can't stop it." Alex realized that their mission had succeeded beyond their wildest hopes and fears. They had destroyed the alien threat, but they had also created a massive uncontrolled bit weapon heading straight for their home planet. The nightmare they had unleashed was spreading through the ship like wildfire, and there was no way to stop it. Major Alex Turner and his team ran through the collapsing alien ship as chaos erupted around them. The virus they had planted was spreading faster than anyone had predicted. Everywhere they looked, aliens were experiencing individual consciousness for the first time in their species' history. "Sir, the ship's weapon systems are activating," Danny reported, his communication equipment crackling with confused alien voices. "But they're not targeting us. They're targeting each other." Through the organic corridors, Alex could see alien crew members fighting over control panels. Each individual was trying to operate systems that had been designed for collective use. The ship's weapons turned inward, firing at its own sections. "The hive mind is completely shattered," Sue said, scanning the area with her medical equipment. "Each alien brain is now operating independently. They're terrified and confused." Alex pressed his communicator. "Command, this is Turner. The virus has been deployed and is working beyond expectations. The alien ship is destroying itself." Captain Ryan Phillips' voice crackled through the device. "Major, we can see that from here. The ship is breaking apart, but it's still heading toward Earth. You need to get out of there now." "Working on it," Alex replied, leading his team toward what looked like a vehicle bay. But everything on this ship was designed for group use. There are no individual escape systems. As they moved through the ship, they witnessed scenes that would haunt them forever. Aliens sat alone in corners, experiencing fear for the first time. Others wandered aimlessly, no longer receiving instructions from the collective mind. Some fought each other with desperate violence, not understanding why they suddenly felt anger and jealousy. "It's like watching children who have never been alone, suddenly separated from their parents," Sue whispered. "They don't know how to function as individuals." Tim Jackson found what they were looking for, a small maintenance vessel designed to work on the ship's exterior. "This might work," he said, examining the controls. "It's basic, but it should get us away from the ship." As the team prepared their escape, the alien ship continued to tear itself apart. Different sections had begun operating independently, each controlled by groups of aliens who no longer trusted the others. Weapons fired randomly throughout the vessel. Life support systems conflicted with each other as different aliens tried to change the settings. "My God," Nicole breathed, watching the chaos through a window. "We didn't just give them individual consciousness. We gave them everything that comes with it: fear, anger, paranoia, and violence." Alex activated the maintenance vessel. As they pulled away from the massive ship, they could see the full scope of what they had unleashed. The alien vessel, once a perfect example of collective harmony, was now a battleground where millions of newly individual minds fought for control. Back on the Terran Defense Station, Commander Jake Morrison watched the alien ship through his telescope. What he saw was impossible to believe. The massive vessel was firing its own weapons at itself. Explosions bloomed across its surface like deadly flowers. "Lieutenant Carter, are you seeing this?" Jake asked. Amy Carter checked her instruments. "Sir, the alien ship is experiencing massive internal conflicts. I'm detecting thousands of separate communication signals where there used to be one unified broadcast." "The virus worked," Jake said quietly, "but this is worse than anything we imagined." On Earth, Dr. Kevin Walsh stared at the data streaming in from the alien ship. His face was pale with horror and fascination. The virus was performing exactly as designed, but the results were more dramatic than his computer models had predicted. "Maria, look at this," he called to his assistant. "The virus isn't just separating their consciousness. It's giving them the full range of human emotions and psychological responses." Maria Santos studied the readings. "Kevin, they're experiencing everything at once. Individual identity, fear of death, anger, jealousy, and territorial behavior. Their minds aren't prepared for this. They're going insane." Dr. Walsh sat down heavily in his chair. "We didn't just destroy their hive mind. We turned them into us. Into humans with all our chaos and violence." General Patricia Stone received the reports from multiple sources. The alien threat was neutralized, but the cost was becoming clear. They had not simply defeated an enemy. They had fundamentally changed the nature of an entire species. "Admiral Bennett," she said over the communicator, "the alien ship is no longer a threat to Earth, but we need to prepare for the consequences of what we've done." Admiral Charles Bennett studied the tactical displays. The alien ship was breaking into smaller pieces as different sections fought each other. Some pieces were heading toward Earth, but they were no longer under unified control. "General, I'm ordering our defense fleet to intercept the larger fragments," Admiral Bennett reported. "But I don't think we'll need to use our weapons. The aliens are doing our job for us." Colonel Frank Miller coordinated the fleet response. "All ships, this is command. Move to intercept positions, but hold fire unless directly threatened. The alien vessel is destroying itself." As the Earth fleet moved into position, they witnessed something unprecedented in galactic warfare. The massive alien ship had split into dozens of smaller sections, each operating independently. Instead of working together to survive, each section treated the others as enemies. Captain Phillips and Lisa Brooks flew their ship close to one of the alien fragments. Through their scanner, they could see the crew inside fighting each other for control of the ship's systems. "It's like they've forgotten how to cooperate," Lisa said. "Each alien is trying to save themselves without considering the others." "That's exactly what happened," Phillips replied. Dr. Walsh's virus gave them human nature, individual survival instinct, personal fear, and the inability to truly trust others. Inside the various alien ship fragments, the newly conscious aliens struggled with concepts they had never experienced. Privacy was foreign to creatures who had always shared thoughts. Personal possessions meant nothing to beings who had previously shared everything. Individual names were impossible for creatures who had always been part of a collective identity. Some aliens tried to recreate the hive mind by forcing others to obey them, but without the biological connection that had held their species together for millions of years. These attempts only led to violence and rebellion. Other aliens withdrew completely, overwhelmed by the experience of being alone in their own minds. They had never dealt with personal fear, individual desires, or the weight of making decisions without group consensus. The chaos spread beyond the ship itself. The virus was designed to be contagious among the alien species. As fragments of the ship drifted through space, they carried infected aliens who would spread the individual consciousness to any other aliens they encountered. Major Turner's team finally reached the Earth Defense Fleet in their stolen maintenance. vessel. As they transferred to a human ship, Alex looked back at the destruction they had caused. "Sir," Sergeant Grant said quietly, "do you think we did the right thing?" Alex watched as alien ship fragments continued to fight each other in the distance. "We saved humanity," he replied, "but we may have committed the worst act of biological warfare in galactic history." The nightmare they had unleashed was no longer contained to one ship. It was spreading through space, carried by survivors who would infect every alien they met with the terrible gift of individual consciousness. Dr. Walsh's virus had given the aliens humanity's greatest strength and greatest weakness, the chaos of individual thought, and there was no way to put that chaos back in the bottle. As the last pieces of the alien supership fell silent, humanity realized they had not just won a battle, they had changed the fundamental nature of intelligence itself in their galaxy. The consequences of that change would echo through space for generations to come. 3 months after the destruction of the alien supership, Commander Jake Morrison stood in a courtroom on Earth. The trial of Dr. Kevin Walsh had captured the attention of every human world and colony. The man who had saved humanity now faced charges of committing genocide against an alien species. Jake had been called as a witness. He watched Dr. Walsh sit quietly at the defendant's table, looking older than his years. The weight of what they had done seemed to have aged everyone involved in Project Pandora. "Commander Morrison," the prosecutor asked, "in your opinion, was there any alternative to using Dr. Walsh's biological weapon?" Jake considered his answer carefully. "Ma'am, the alien ship would have reached Earth in 4 days. Our entire fleet combined could not have damaged it. We faced the complete destruction of our species. But did you know the virus would spread beyond the original target?" Jake felt sick to his stomach. No, none of us understood how far it would go. The courtroom was filled with humans, and, for the first time in history, aliens. Former members of the Kethmori Empire sat in the gallery, their large eyes watching the proceedings with an intensity that made Jake uncomfortable. These aliens had been infected with individual consciousness and were now refugees on human worlds. One of them, who called himself Seth, had learned to speak English. He stood up when the judge asked if any aliens wished to testify. "Your Honor," Seth said in his strange, musical voice, "I speak for many of my people who are here today. We do not seek revenge against Dr. Walsh or humanity." The courtroom fell silent. This was the first time any of the affected aliens had spoken publicly about their experience. "Before the virus, I was not I," Seth continued. "I was part of a greater whole. I had no individual thoughts, no personal fears, no private dreams. When the virus changed me, I became aware of myself as a separate being. It was terrifying, but it was also beautiful." Jake watched as tears formed in Seth's large eyes. The sight of an alien crying was something no human had ever seen before. "Many of my people could not handle the change," Seth said. "They went insane from the loneliness of individual thought. Others became violent because they had never learned to control personal anger. But some of us adapted. We learned to be individuals while still caring for others." Dr. Walsh stood up slowly. "I'm sorry," he said to Seth and the other aliens in the courtroom. "I never intended for your people to suffer. The virus was designed to stop a war, not to change your entire species." Seth nodded. "We understand, and we want you to know that some of us are grateful. We have discovered things we never knew existed. Personal love, individual creativity, and the joy of making our own choices." Admiral Charles Bennett sat in his office, reading reports from across the galaxy. The virus had spread far beyond what anyone had imagined. Every Kethmori ship that had contact with survivors from the supership had been infected. The entire alien empire was collapsing as individual consciousness spread like wildfire through their population. Maria Santos knocked on his door. "Admiral, you need to see the latest intelligence reports," She placed a tablet on his desk, showing a map of the galaxy. Red dots marked locations where the virus had appeared. There were hundreds of them, spreading in all directions from the original infection site. How many alien worlds are affected? Admiral Bennett asked. At least 50 confirmed, probably more, Maria replied. But sir, it's not just the Kethmori. The virus is jumping to other species that had contact with them. It seems to affect any species with collective consciousness. Admiral Bennett rubbed his tired eyes. How many species are we talking about? Possibly dozens. The Kethmori had conquered many worlds over the centuries. All of their subject species are being affected. General Patricia Stone had called another emergency meeting of the Defense Council. But this time, the topic was not how to defend Earth. It was how to deal with the consequences of their victory. Ladies and gentlemen, she began, we are receiving requests for help from across the galaxy. Former enemy species are asking for our assistance in dealing with the individual consciousness virus. What kind of help? Asked Colonel Frank Miller. Everything from medical aid to psychological counseling. These species have no experience with individual mental health, personal relationships, or independent decision-making. Lieutenant Amy Carter had been reassigned to study the galactic situation. Her reports painted a picture of unprecedented change across known space. The Zanari trade empire has completely collapsed, she reported to the council. Without their hive mind coordination, they can't manage interstellar commerce. Individual Zanari are trying to start their own businesses, but they have no concept of personal profit or competition. What about the Vorth Military Confederation? General Stone asked. Their fleet is scattered across dozens of systems. Each ship is now operating independently. Some have become pirates. Others are trying to set up their own colonies. A few are actually requesting permission to settle in human space. Captain Ryan Phillips and Lisa Brooks had become ambassadors to the newly individual alien species. Their job was to help former hive minds learn how to function as independent beings. It's like teaching adults how to be children, Lisa explained to a group of human colonists. These aliens have to learn everything from scratch, how to form personal relationships, how to make individual decisions, how to deal with being alone. Phillips nodded, but some of them are adapting remarkably well. They're discovering art, music, and literature for the first time, things that only make sense to individual minds. On the prison world of Titan, Major Alex Turner sat in a small cell. He had been court-martialed for his role in deploying the virus, even though he had been following orders. The military needed someone to blame for the unintended consequences. Sergeant Nicole Grant visited him regularly. The galaxy is changing, she told him during one visit. Some alien species are forming democratic governments for the first time. Others are fighting civil wars as individuals struggle for power. Do you think we did the right thing? Alex asked. Nicole was quiet for a long moment. We saved humanity, but we also destroyed the old galaxy and created a new one. Whether that's right or wrong depends on how you look at it. Dr. Walsh had been found guilty of crimes against alien life, but his sentence was community service rather than prison. The court had decided that his expertise was needed to help deal with the ongoing crisis. He now worked with Zeth and other adapted aliens to create programs for helping newly individual aliens adjust to their condition. It was strange work, teaching ancient species how to be human. The hardest part, Zeth explained to a group of newly conscious aliens, is learning to trust your own thoughts. For millions of years, our species never had to decide anything for ourselves. Now every choice is ours alone. One young alien raised a tentacle. But how do we know if our choices are right? Dr. Walsh smiled sadly. That's the human condition. We never really know if our choices are right. We just have to make the best decisions we can with the information we have. As the months passed, the galaxy slowly adapted to its new reality. Some species embraced individual consciousness and flourished. They formed new types of governments, created unprecedented art, and developed technologies that could only be invented by individual minds working together by choice rather than compulsion. Other species could not handle the change. Their civilizations collapsed as individuals fought each other for resources and power. Some aliens went insane from the loneliness of individual thought. Others became violent dictators, trying to recreate the hive mind through force. But perhaps the most surprising development was the emergence of new alliances. Species that had been enemies for centuries began working together as their newly individual members discovered. They had more in common than they had ever realized. Commander Morrison stood on the observation deck of Earth's newest space station, watching ships from dozens of different species dock together peacefully. Human vessels shared berths with former Kathmori cruisers, Zanari traders, and Vorth explorers. Amy Carter joined him at the window. Hard to believe, it's only been a year since we thought the galaxy was going to end. Jake nodded. Instead, we ended one galaxy and started another. The question is whether the new one will be better than the old. In the distance, a small ship landed. It carried a mixed crew of humans and aliens working together on a deep space exploration mission. They were going to explore regions of space that had never been visited by any species, driven by the individual curiosity that only conscious beings could feel. Dr. Walsh watched from his laboratory as more aliens arrived on Earth, seeking help in adapting to individual consciousness. Each one was different now, with their own personality, fears, and dreams. The hive mind uniformity that had once defined them was gone forever. "Do you regret it?" Maria asked him, as they watched a young alien child laugh for the first time. Dr. Walsh considered the question. "I regret the pain we caused. I regret that so many aliens suffered and died because they couldn't adapt. But I don't regret giving them the chance to be individuals, even if that chance came with suffering." Major Turner had been released from prison and now worked as a counselor for other humans struggling with guilt over their role in the galactic transformation. Many of them asked the same question he had asked himself, whether they had committed genocide or liberation. The truth is, he would tell them, we may never know. We changed the fundamental nature of consciousness in our galaxy. That's either the greatest crime or the greatest gift in history. Future generations will have to decide which it was. As the galaxy continued to adapt to its new reality, one thing became clear: there was no going back. The virus had given individual consciousness to billions of beings who had never experienced it before. Some thrived, some suffered, and some found ways to build something entirely new. Humanity had wanted to save itself from destruction. Instead, they had given the galaxy the gift and curse that defined human existence: the terrible, wonderful burden of being alone in your own mind, responsible for your own choices, and free to become whatever you decided to be. The nightmare they had unleashed was also a dream of infinite possibilities.